Welcome, everyone. We have Kelly Dunn. She's an incumbent city council member of the Cedar Falls City Council. We've previously endorsed Kelly 4 years ago in 2021 in our first year. So we welcome her aboard again as an incumbent who's seeking re-election on November 4th. And without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Kelly. So the floor is yours for approximately 6 minutes, Kelly.
Okay, so first, hello, and thank you for giving your time to listen to me ramble for 6 minutes. It probably will be rambling. I do have to say the reason I'm sitting in my car and look like a hot mess is because I'm lucky to be working overtime this week. And so I didn't get the chance to get myself looking nicer. So about myself, I am a practical nurse. The last time I would have been up for possible endorsement by the Unity Coalition, I was working in direct patient care. Since then, I have left direct patient care. I still use my nursing license, but I'm not directly taking care of people. Much less stress. Obviously, there's a guilt there, but much less stress as far as my day job. I'm a wife, mom, all those things. So I have served the city of Cedar Falls. I won a special election in 2020. There was a single issue in Cedar Falls that was, I'll say, dividing our community, and sometimes still continues to divide, although much less so. But those folks who were against it was our public safety model is what people were upset about. And there was a vacancy on the council. And instead of just doing what we can, not we, they can do, which is appoint someone to fill out the remainder of the term, citizens push for a election. There was 4 people running, none of them who I felt I could support, just in the fact, not so much for the single issue, but because I was not loving the, the way that these folks that supported this single issue, there was a lot of misinformation, a lot of anger, a lot of hate, and I did not want to support a candidate who was going to continue that. So anyway, I ran, I won, and here I am. So now fast forward to here. There was a couple tumultuous, if I'm saying that correctly, years on our city council where, to put it mildly, we did not move forward at all. In fact, we probably moved backwards a little bit. That is not typically what Cedar Falls is used to. But again, that single issue seemed to continue to tear the council kind of, there was some remnants of that, those elections left on council. Last election, we had a major, overhaul as far as a majority of folks are new, including our mayor. I always tell people when they ask, how is it? Because it seems healthier to folks when they look in, is what they tell me. And I say that we are a much healthier body, and the fact that we can have rational conversations. We may not always agree, but the conversations are rational. And the best part is that we have a majority of folks who, in my opinion, when I have a conversation, I trust that their vote is because they truly love our community and not just themselves or some special interest. So it does feel like a much healthier body. I will admit there have been some times in the past couple of years where I have kind of considered not running because, I'm a very passionate person. I try to give, and I hope everybody does, but I try to give every, bit of my energy to all the roles in my life, including serving on the city council. Sometimes that can kind of bite you, you find yourself kind of crying to yourself. But I'm always reminded of why I served or ran in the first place, and it's to serve. And I run thinking, or, with the thought that I may not win, but at least I give folks an option. And that's how I ran the first time. That's how I ran the second time. And that's how I'm going to run again. Just a little, I think this kind of speaks to my character. So and kind of what's going on in our state. And I assume I'm not unique in, when I got the questions from Mitch for the questionnaire, I think he said, oh, it's 4 questions. And so I took a look at them that Friday that after I received them, and they're 4 questions, but they're 4, big subjects. I think it was housing and affordable housing and access to housing, homelessness, sustainability, and how are you, I guess, making it through with these changes from the state legislature as far as how we can collect tax revenue and all of that. And I had to stop because it kind of put me in a little bit of a funk to where I started thinking to myself, these are big subjects, and they're big subjects no matter what, but they're really big when you're getting absolutely no help from the state and the federal government. So I almost went to a little sadness and had to recollect myself. But I fired myself back up. I hope I answered the questions. I answered them to the best of my ability. So I guess I don't have any big inspiring things to say other than I'm ready to keep going. I think, I've done a full term. I've done a little partial 1.5 term. I, although get tired and think, somebody else could take the baton and I'd be totally fine with it. I also feel that I have experience that, I'm one of the senior council members now on our council. And I feel I at least have something to offer if the citizens will have me for another 4 years. Does that cover it, Mitch?
Yes, thank you very much, Kelly. I want to mention you did a very good job in your questionnaire.
Thank you.
So it was kind of hard to find 2 questions, but we did. So, and what the first question was reference to question number 3. We asked how your city can address homelessness without punishing the homeless like they do in Des Moines.
Yeah.
And what services or programs would you support both short-term and long-term? In your answer, you mentioned the need for Cedar Rapids to continue contributing financially and support local organizations that work directly with the homeless. You also mentioned your goal of establishing shelters in Cedar Falls, as opposed to Waterloo, where most of them are currently at. As a follow-up, please identify if there are any financial resources available to expand homeless shelters, drug rehab centers, transitional living centers. So especially like you said, with the cuts or potential cuts in property tax monies because of the state, and probably a lot less federal funds over the next 3.5 years here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest. I don't, or obviously I'm going to be honest. There's not, to my knowledge, is there some big pile of cash somewhere. I mean, that would take the 7 of us council members, probably, working that into the budget. I mean, we do have our CB or our community development block grant money that we currently use to help support some of those organizations that exist. We have the Hospitality House, Catholic Worker House, House of Hope, different organizations, all located in Waterloo. But as far as to answer the question of, do we currently have funds? I mean, Cedar Falls is in a good place financially, considering all the things that have happened in the last 5 years. But there's not a specific amount of money earmarked right now for addressing homelessness, besides those community development block grants that have been there before. So it'd have to be something that, I tell people, I'm not good at the politicking side of politics. I mean, my way of politicking is I just keep talking. I make myself present. I make it appoints to always meet with people when they request to meet with me, but also to be active in meeting with people, including the people I sit with on council. So, I mean, I've got to get those people when we do goal setting. Cedar Falls has a good goal setting session every year. This year, I finally got childcare on our goal setting document after pushing for that for 4 years. Hopefully by the time this one rolls around, we can get that in the conversation and hopefully have a consensus for the council as a whole to make it a goal that we figure out a way to fund and know that homelessness is something that is currently an issue in our community, but it likely isn't going to get it. It's likely not going to improve, at least in the next few years. And absolutely, we don't want to be in a position where we're making it so people can't even exist in a public place. I don't have all the answers, but I know that I am having the conversation, and I don't know that anybody else that I sit with has had the conversation, at least with me. So,
Okay, well, we do have a second question.
yeah,
And with the second question pertains to question number 4 of the question for the questionnaire asks how you would deal with the budgetary restrictions imposed by the state legislators. What services will you protect versus which could be scaled back? And what other public or private resources can be utilized to fill the gap? In your answer, you indicated that your first priority is ensuring the city staff members are fully compensated, and that additional focus will be fairness in terms of emergency dispatch cost. However, you did not indicate what public or private resources might be utilized to help fill this gap. And you got 1 minute to answer that.
sure. Well, I mean, sometimes I think I just don't think of it because we do have good organizations in spot and place. I mean, you know, I just know that we partner with our school, which obviously that's not really private. We do have developers that are sometimes willing to work with us, especially when those incentives are in place. That can help some things. You know, I don't have a great answer to that, Mitch. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it's a tough answer. I mean, I think other candidates who we spoke to the last couple of months, I think you're up the right way of looking at it. I mean, other developers, I mean, developers can be innovative and help pitch in. I mean, because, you know, many times you give them the monies to build these affordable housing projects.
Yeah.
So they get the, you know, the tax increment financing and so forth. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so it's all working together. I mean, you know, be it
Can I say
the
this real
state,
quick?
federal.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I will say this. So, and this may not be exactly what you're looking for, but you know, like I said, the childcare issue is, I think, a very big problem, not only in Cedar Falls, but probably in the whole country. And so, you know, yesterday I had a meeting with it's called Grow Cedar Valley. It's basically what once upon a time was the Waterloo and Cedar Falls Chamber of Commerce. But anyway, the leader there is a very smart, strong young woman. And we talked about, you know, like that would be the city is not going to be able to do anything about childcare all on their own. You know, the businesses, the private businesses and entities that need employees to be able to show up. I mean, that it's going to have to be a partnership. So just quickly, that's one thing that I think of. It doesn't totally maybe answer that question, but I am aware that we have to work together, especially now.